When I first played the Blade Runner point and click back in 1997 on PC, I honestly thought it was photorealistic graphics. I couldn't believe the world they created. It felt so true to Ridley Scott's movies. And after failing to convince my mates that point and click adventures were cool, this came along and, well, it made it easy. I couldn't quite believe it when I heard that Night Dive Studios and Alcon Entertainment had been working away on this one. I knew nothing about it until about a week ago. But I did hear some rumours of lost source code and other undisclosed technical issues causing problems. But here we are, and it's been released. It's my birthday today. Has it turned out to be a smile on a reasonably sunny day, or more tears in the rain? Well, let's find out. We'll start off with the changes they've made to this enhanced edition, and I'll give you my thoughts on that as well as performance. Now, straight off the bat, with the loss of the source code, it's meant that Night Dive have essentially had to do some reverse engineering. And while, look, the first playthrough I ever had was on a 640 by 480 CRT monitor, and then the most recent one was on a reasonably small screen, to my eye, stretched over a large TV. These visuals potentially look worse than they did before. Now, AI upscaling is notorious for, well, approximation. And to me, it really does look like it's approximated some things and potentially lost others. The improved character models, they look awful, and there are a few bugs here as well. First and foremost is a crash, and I've only had it once, but it deleted my entire save file and I had to restart the game. It's not happened since, so there is that, but it gives you that wary feeling, so you're saving every 5 minutes. Now, the visual quality varies from scene to scene. Some elements I do like. The increased frame rate, for example, of the cutscenes. They've gone from 15 to 60 FPS, and it means that many of those motion backgrounds, they just look so much smoother. On the flip side of that though, the main characters' movements haven't been improved, and I do understand they want to maintain some authenticity and they want to keep that original feeling, but if you're going to do that, I think you're almost better off just keeping the whole lot at the same frame rate, as it ends up making that character feel stuttery in comparison to that silky 60 FPS background. It's very noticeable as well with the upscaling in certain scenes. We're all used to looking out for elements in games that can move because they stand out against the background. But the difference is so stark now, it actually looks quite unusual. They mentioned that they introduced anti-aliasing into the game, and I'm not sure it's gone quite to plan, as there are some angles which literally have stepping quite visibly on screen that I'm sure wasn't there when I played the original game. There are a couple of other visual anomalies. There are some lovely transitions in Blade Runner. When you move from scene to scene or from one area to another, the camera could pan and swoop down, and it was really nice for its time. It's still great seeing it again, but unfortunately there's some quirkiness here, whereby the character might get stuck in the same position and he'll move with the camera and then teleport to where he was. It's just a bit buggy in that regard at the moment. So visually then, it's a bit of a mixed bag. I was never expecting or wanting widescreen support. I did expect that the improved character models would look improved, and I don't hate the 60 FPS backgrounds, but there should have been touchscreen support for the Switch version. It just makes sense. A point and click adventure is very well suited to even an oversized meat pointer over slowly panning around with the controller. The other element to the game is the incredible soundtrack, which despite its excellent quality wasn't actually directly from the film. Frank Klepacki, who was the sound engineer for Westwood, had to basically listen and try and piece together some of those tracks because they couldn't get the film's original soundtrack right. And it's funny because the audio for the game was what really made it feel like a part of the Blade Runner universe.
And vice versa.
Everything here is guaranteed. The finest, most authentic anyone.
I did notice a couple of audio issues though with this version, some syncing problems, and some areas where I'm sure in the original game when I played it, there was music playing and then it wasn't here, or it would stutter in and out. It's just not ideal and it needs a bit of patch love. As it stands, I would have to give visuals 11 out of 20. Not just because they're clearly showing their age, but there are some bugs and other bits and bobs that need work. The musical score is incredible, but it's that along with the exceptional voice work which makes this a part of the Blade Runner universe. They just need to fix a few quirks. Audio scores 16 out of 20. And that takes us on to gameplay. Now, the beauty of Blade Runner was always that not only was it slightly different every time you played, but it was one of the earliest point-and-click games to introduce some player choice. There are times when you'll come face to face with a replicant and you can either whip your gun out and put them down or let them live. This then had some implication on the story. It was quite new territory, particularly in this genre, and it weaved the storyline through the entire experience, and it was one that was fresh and new, but ran parallel to the movies. And you play as Ray McCoy. He's a relatively novice Blade Runner, and he's brought in to investigate some rogue Nexus 6 models who have redecorated a pet shop. You'll also hear a number of the characters from the film voiced by their original actors.
He's kinda angry, and you know what a cool customer he is.
Story and gameplay are very much intrinsic to one another, but little details like your pet dog and Ray's evident affection for it quickly made the player care about this person.
I lived with the best gal I'd ever seen. She was 2 now and full of life and love.
As you're working through the case, you'll be moving to different areas of the map, and there are plenty of unique locations and people to talk to. There's an investigatory mechanic that further built upon player choice. If you took your time and carefully scoured through those photographs, enhancing the right areas, finding the right clues, then you were potentially improving the outcome of your case. However, if you were slapdash or chose to be, then vital points of information will be missed, and whether these affect the outcome or not, they did affect your personal understanding of what had taken place. I just hadn't played anything like it, and it genuinely still holds up quite well to this day. The shooting is probably one of the weakest areas, and it feels very clunky. You can draw your weapon with one button push, and sometimes this is used to solve puzzles and others to retire replicants. And the menu system, ooh, yeah. They've tried to improve this with the enhanced edition, but it can still be a bit of a confusing mess to work your way around. Here you'll store all of your clues and be able to access and ponder all of your different pieces of information. Navigation of the world is simple enough. It's a point-and-click adventure after all, but you can double-click to sprint. There's also interaction with ladders, and a blue arrow will show when you can leave the area. If you're remotely interested in point-and-click adventure games, you should have played this already, but if not, now is a great time to play it. The core feeling, the core experience is still here, and just chilling in bed playing it on handheld with the OLED, the issues seem to fade away into the background. There will undoubtedly be times where you're scratching your head for what to do next, and you might even get stuck for a period of time. I'd strongly urge you not to go for a guide. That's not the way these games were meant to be played. You're always supposed to go away, have a little think, and come back and try something new, and that stands to this day. The gameplay scores 17 out of 20. The controls, they score 14 out of 20. Blade Runner the Enhanced Edition is going to set you back a mere £8.39, and it has a 3.8GB download. Now, despite a few of the issues that I've had, it is absolutely worth that price. It's a little slice of gaming history. I think you still owe it to yourself to play it. Hopefully, Night Dive can fix some of the bugs and the quirkiness, but for £8.39, you're not going to be disappointed. I give value 16 out of 20. Having just been talking about it the other day to someone in the comments, I am really happy to have Blade Runner on Switch, and it's been great playing through it again. It gets a SwitchUp score of 74%. Let me know in the comments you've probably already picked it up or checked out some reviews and picked it up, but are you an OG fan or are you new to the experience, and how are you finding it? As always, we've got our 10% discount, so you could save 83p on this one if you go over to switchup.gg, use code SwitchUp on your vouchers, and then, well, spend them. Thanks to all of our patrons and to all of you that seem to enjoy the content, and for all things Switch all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers guys, see ya!